Ever tried to solder a tiny surface mount component or inspect a rare coin and realized your eyes just aren't cutting it anymore? That is exactly where this Elikliv EM4K steps in. It is one of those pieces of gear that feels surprisingly substantial the moment you pull it out of the box. It has a solid metal build that doesn't feel like it is going to tip over the second you bump the desk, which is a huge relief if you are working with delicate electronics. The first thing that hits you is the screen. It is an 8-inch IPS display, and honestly, the clarity is a massive jump from those grainy, low-resolution scopes that have been flooding the market for years. When you switch this thing into 4K mode, the detail is sharp enough that you can actually see the individual fibers on a piece of fabric or the tiny imperfections on a coin that you would normally miss entirely. What makes this stand out is the sheer versatility. You have got this 10-inch stand that gives you plenty of room to maneuver, and the base is wide enough that you aren't constantly fighting for space. If you are into coin collecting, being able to fit the whole coin under the lens without having to constantly adjust the height is a total win. The color accuracy is surprisingly good too, thanks to that wide color gamut support. It doesn't have that washed-out neon look that makes digital images feel fake. Now here is the thing about the zoom. It claims up to 2000x, and while that is technically true, you have to be realistic about what that looks like in practice. Once you push past the optical limits, you are getting into digital zoom territory, and things do get a bit soft. But for 90% of soldering or inspection tasks, you won't even need to go that deep. The remote control is a nice touch, too. It sounds like a small detail, but when you are trying to keep a steady hand while soldering, not having to reach up and tap the screen to snap a photo is a lifesaver. It keeps the whole setup from shaking, which is exactly what you want. The battery life is decent enough for a few hours of bench work, though if you are doing long sessions, you will probably just want to keep it plugged in. One minor gripe is that the interface can be a little bit fiddly at first. It takes a minute to get used to the menu navigation, and the buttons on the unit itself feel a little clicky and cheap compared to the rest of the build. But once you have your settings dialed in, you rarely need to touch them again. If you are looking for something that bridges the gap between a hobbyist toy and a professional lab tool, this is a solid contender. It is not perfect, but for the price, it is hard to argue with the level of detail it puts right in front of your eyes. It is a genuinely useful piece of kit that makes those tedious, tiny tasks feel a whole lot easier.
Check out the video description for updated price. And thank you for watching this video.